everybody, Tekking101 here. Okay, well, consider kind of this a 7,000 subscriber special. Yeah, 7,000 subscribers. Now that is incredible. That is amazing. Can we get a clapping track in here? Let's get a clapping track in here. Yeah, it's all thanks to you guys. It's all thanks to you. You guys are awesome. So, though after I found out I had 7K after I passed that threshold, I was kind of going on like a major nostalgia fest and just thinking like, oh man, been on YouTube and doing this manga reviewing thing for 2 years and never thought I would be this, I would become this popular. I always thought I was kind of ghetto with the camera and everything, but whatever. So I decided to make this video as kind of a 7K subscriber special, and this is a video that not a lot of people have been requesting from me recently, but I used to get these all the time. It was like, hey Matt, can you tell me exactly like any tips on how to make a manga review? Any tips? Like I'm gonna start my own manga reviewing show, anime reviewing show. I like my own LP. I just want to know some of your ideas, some of your tips. And I get these a lot on my fan page more than anything. But I decided to finally do it just to make one video, rounding everything out here. Except when people ask me this, I'm not an expert on certain types of videos in the anime manga community. I'm not an expert on if you're doing like anime episode reviews or if you're doing whole series reviews. Like I've done a couple whole series reviews, but those are really time consuming to make. Anyone that does them out there, they're tough, and I haven't done one in a very long time, so I'm not really an expert with those. The only thing that I really do know how to do is manga reviews. Obviously, I'm up to almost my 100th review, and I mean I've done LPs and everything like that, but the one thing I'm fairly certain of, I know a little bit about at this point, is the manga, the weekly chapter reviews. So I have compiled a list of just five factors. That's all it is. 5 factors on how you can make a good manga reviewing show that people will want to watch, and how you can continue to make one that people will enjoy. You know, I'm going to list some stuff here. I'm also going to list some stuff that I don't like, some stuff that from my personal experience I've seen that reviewers do, and it's just it's a major deterrent for me watching the video. I don't want you to think like if I mention something that I don't like and you're doing it in your videos, I don't want you to sit there and be like, oh man, that's why no one subs to me. I'm such a fuck up. I've been doing this for like all these times. Like, just calm down. I don't really necessarily mean that. My opinion is my opinion. Maybe something I hate, other people enjoy. So don't get all down if I mention something that I necessarily don't like and you're doing. I'll give you tips on easily how to fix them. So, first factor here for a good manga review is your knowledge. This is before you even pick up a camera. This is even before you start talking about your thoughts and your opinions and be sending it off to the interwebs for all to see. Whatever you're reviewing, make sure you know a decent amount about it. Now, that's not to say that you have to read the entire series, you know, from chapter 1. Like, let's say you read Naruto. Let's say you're not a complete total Naruto fan. You know, you haven't read every single chapter. Let's say you've just read up to the Shinobi World War arc, the 4th Shinobi World War arc. So you know what's going on in terms of recent chapters, but let's say you read a chapter and you want to review it, and it includes lines of dialogue or characters that jump back to like another part of the story that you haven't seen yet. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go back and like try to sift through the entire chapters to try to figure out which one they're in. All you really need to do is do a quick wiki search. That's all you need. Wikis are freaking god in terms of like my research on things, in terms of any kind of manga I want to research. If I, like, for example, I did a fairy tale review a very long time ago. I did a fairy tale review, and it was during the Daimento Embu arc, and this was a point in the series when I haven't read half of fairy tale. I haven't read the Edelus arc, the Orhan Seis arc. I missed part of the freaking Tenru Island arc, so you know I didn't know a whole bunch of these characters that were being introduced. So before I did the review, I just went over to Fairy Tale Wikia and, you know, found these characters rather easily, just read their bios, figured out what arc they're in, what major, you know, connection to the characters they had, what major connection to the plot they had, and I felt like after, you know, a good 10-15 minutes of reading this, I felt like I had a good, decent amount of knowledge to go and make a review about it. And I even mentioned in the video, hey, I'm not a complete fan. I mean, I haven't read the whole series. I'm not 100% sure what these characters play part in the series. So that's all you really need to do. It doesn't mean you have to know, like, inside and out, like how much I know Bleach. Like, I've read every chapter of Bleach, I've watched every episode, but that's just me, okay? There's plenty of other manga reviewers out there that aren't completely, you know, like aren't like freaking Einstein with their respective series, okay? Makes sense. Now, on that subject, that doesn't mean you have to be an Einstein to review the chapter. Let's look at like the vacuum ice thing from Bleach in the recent chapter with Toshiro. Just because something like that vacuum ice thing was mentioned in the chapter and you don't understand it, that doesn't mean you have to have a degree in biology to review the chapter. You know, like how vacuums affect living things. You know, you don't have to know that. I wasn't even completely sure. I had a basic understanding understanding, but I wasn't even completely sure of what the vacuum ice thing did when I was talking about it. And everyone said I did a pretty good explanation, but, you know, I got plenty of comments that are saying, hey, actually, I think this is what that means instead of that. So, you know, you don't have to have multiple degrees in chemistry, physics, or science to know what's going on in the chapter. But I think at that point, though, it's more of the author's responsibility to let you guys know exactly what's going on, so not everyone's completely confused. But, you know, just understand the characters, understand the plot, where they're going, and don't be like halfway through the review and be like, oh man, that character. I think I remember seeing him once, like that one time in the series with Ichigo, but I can't remember. So let's just skip him. You know, don't do that, because that kind of makes you come off as you're kind of, you know, you're not very professional. You don't know much about the series, and that doesn't necessarily mean you do. You know, that just means that, you know, that particular character you might have just skipped. It's perfectly understandable. Just do a quick wiki search. It'll, you know, fix your problems easy. So that's just knowledge. That's just before you even, you know, start filming. Now, in terms of filming itself, I don't know if I'm just unlucky, but every time I started watching manga reviews way back before I even did my own, this is back in probably late 2010, early 2011, I would always get the reviewers that would, let's say I would search for a Bleach chapter 500, 400, whatever review. I would always get the guy that would be in his bedroom, the lights would be dim as hell, it would be on like a very pixelated webcam, it looked like he just got out of bed, no shirt on, hair all frizzed up, and, you know, he'd just be like, so guys, so this Bleach chapter 437 review entitled, you know, like, I would always get that guy. It's like, oh, so Ichigo is pretty beast in this chapter. He fights against Ginjo, and he, I would always get that kind of reviewer. I don't know why. But, you know, it's just simple logic, you know. If you want to make a video that people are going to watch and you want to be continually watched, you know, just put a little bit of effort in prep time of your videos. Now, let's just talk about cameras before we get into everything else. Cameras are something that's always kind of tricky, because people can say, it's like, well, I don't have the money for a 1080p HD you know, camera. I don't have that sort of funding. I still want to make reviews, but I can't afford that. Okay, that's perfectly fine. My camera is about as ghetto as you can get. My camera is almost 3 years old. It is a digital still shot camera that I'm using a video function for. Its microphone is decent. Its video is only like 300, I think it's like 360 or 480p on YouTube. That's like the maximum I can get it. And it's not that great. I know it's not that great. My quality is shit, really. But at least you can see me clearly. You can understand what I'm saying. And it's not, I try to get decent lighting in here. But just in terms of cameras alone, I have a webcam that I purchased for 20 bucks up at Walmart, you know. It's not the greatest webcam in the world, but you can see me clearly. You can hear me clearly. That's all that really matters, okay? I mean, editing is going to be a different point on this list. I'm going to get to that, but you don't have to be like have an editing fest like I do with the images, okay? Just as long as someone can see you and hear you clearly, you'll be good. That's like the good foothold to start, okay? So another thing I don't like, and really, I'm not saying this to anyone that does a video in this style, you have to be very careful with it though, is filming stuff on an iPhone or any kind of cell phone. Because if it's an iPhone, you might have decent quality, but you know, you upload it to YouTube and it's like cropped horizontally and it's like everything's flipped. Now, I think YouTube actually did something with their editing software program, so you can actually flip the video perspective, so you can at least do that. But just watch it first. You know, if you're going to film a review or something on your cell phone, watch it yourself first after you uploaded it to the internet, and just see, you know, if you're just some random guy who's looking for a Bleach review and you clicked on this video, would you want to watch it like this with the aspect ratio all messed up? Would you want to watch something that's not visually appealing to the eye, okay? So, like I said, YouTube, I think, knows of this problem that people upload stuff directly from their iPhones or Droids. It's a lot easier because you can just film it, upload, done. It's a lot simpler, but just make sure, just be careful of quality. Audio reviews. There's some people on YouTube that only do audio reviews, and this is not necessarily a bad thing. In many ways, this is actually a really good alternative to doing anything with, if you don't have a decent camera, this is a really good alternative. You have to keep the eye on something, though. You have to keep it something. You can't just have like the same, like if you have like an image of the chapter, like let's say a recent chapter, Soy Phone, you know, blasting BG9 with her Eternal Shun Cone, you have that up as the image, the entire like run of a 10-minute video. That might get kind of boring to the eye eventually. I know it's an audio, it might just be like a podcast sort of thing, but try to keep the eye at least a little bit entertained. Even if it's just like you putting up like 5 or 6 Bleach images and just doing it on like a slideshow and just like cycling through the same images a bunch of times. If the video's not too like really long, this could be no problem. Just kind of, you have to keep the eye entertained at least a little bit, even with audio reviews. But it's a good alternative. I'm not bashing anyone that does audio reviews, and actually it's a good method of doing this. I actually saw an audio review a little while ago, and I don't know who did this, but they did their own little, it wasn't even really good. It was just like, it was stick drawings, but the stick drawings were actually done really well, and whoever did this was very funny and very clever. It was only like a 5-minute review, but it had me laughing quite a bit, and it had me interested in just like really these stick figures of like Yuha Bach and Yamamoto. It was actually kind of funny. I actually enjoyed it. I can't remember the YouTuber's name. I apologize. But audio review is good for that. But if this is something that you might not want me to hear, like tell you, but if you don't have any decent camera like I've just described, I really wouldn't recommend making a video until you get one. I always have a stern policy for myself is, if the video is like, if it comes out bad, if it renders bad, I don't even bother uploading it. If it's, I have to meet a certain standard. So, like I said, 20 bucks, Walmart, get yourself a webcam. You have to save up for it. It would be worth it if this is what you really want to do. So, yeah, that's just one thing there. I'm going to get into editing at a later point. So, that's just in terms of a camera, how I would go about that. It's not that really hard to get your hands on one of those. Just in terms of lighting, I have like a sort of 3-point lighting thing right here. It's not really professional 3-point lighting. I have 2 desk lamps with floodlights on the floor, and I have 1 ceiling light with a floodlight pointing at me. These floodlights are insanely easy to get. I got 3 of them at my dollar store, Dollar Tree, for $1 each. They've been with me for about 3 or 4 months now. They haven't burned out, so anything like that, if you want to do something like a backdrop like this. But not everyone has a backdrop. Not everyone just has a spare room in their house or a place they could just stand and just do a review. Other people decide to do it in their rooms, and a lot of people do it like that. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Just a couple of things you have to keep in mind here. Number 1, lighting, as I just said. Even if it's just like a window or something, make sure careful for white balancing. Before you turn on the camera and start talking, turn on the camera, talk for a bit, turn the camera off, and watch what you just made. Like, make like a couple of 5 seconds test. I do that all the time because I'm really hyper paranoid if like the camera is like white balance is off, or if light from the window is filtering in and hitting me the wrong way. So make sure just to check, like quick little check just to make sure that everything you're making is coming out okay. If you're gonna film it in a room or something that has a lot of personal stuff in it, make sure anything that you don't want to be on camera is moved out of the way. I mean, if you're doing it like in front of a dresser or something, and there's like a bunch of clothing sticking out of your dresser, just stuff that stuff in. Just make sure there's nothing too distracting, because the star of the show is you. Like, I have my backdrop up here, like Elite Ace has his plasma screen with the Bleach anime or movies playing or whatever, what have you, in the background, but the main show is you. People come to watch you, so make sure there's not anything too distracting in the back. Make sure if you have anything back there, it's at least complimentary, like a Bleach poster, couple of Bleach volumes bounced up, DVDs bounced up, anything that might compliment you, but you are the star of the show. This is about you. In terms of just wearing whatever, just make sure you don't have to look like me. You don't have to dress up in the suit and tie. You don't have to put on a kimono like Ace and have the Zanpakuto at hand whenever a holo comes through your window and you want to bash its head in with Getsuga Tensho. You just have to look decent. You know, like, this really doesn't, I don't even have to go into a lot of more detail here. Clean shirts, no stains or anything like that. Really, that's all that really it is. Make sure your hair's nice. That's just all. You just want to look presentable. That's really it. I'm sure you've been told this multiple times in your life. You know, if you go to church, everyone, like when you were a little kid, you have to look presentable when you go to church. You have to look presentable when you go to school. I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times in your life before, so just look presentable. Well, you'll hear it 1,001 more times. Alright, so that's just making the quality of the video. Next up is about your schedule, or the production rate of your videos. So, I've seen a lot of this, where people will make one video of like Bleach Chapter 443 review, and the next week they'll just stop. They won't make a 444, 40, 45, 46. They'll just make it when they feel like. And that's perfectly fine if you're just a casual reader of Bleach, and if, let's say, you read a chapter that kind of strikes your attention, it's like, oh, I'm going to make a video about that. And then maybe 5 or 6 chapters happen after that, and you don't really feel anything like really connected with you. You don't really feel like making a video, so you don't. And then the next chapter comes out like 7 chapters later after your first review, something else happens, make a video about it. That's fine if you're just a casual vlogger slash YouTuber. If you want to actually be successful at this, you're going to have to make this a weekly thing. Try not to miss as many as possible. If you want to stay on YouTube, if you want to be part of the anime manga community, if you want to actually contribute to the point where you're actually going to be monetizing your videos, well, you can monetize all your videos now on YouTube, but if you want to be making a decent amount of money, if you want people to remember you, if you want people to keep watching your vids, you got to keep up a decent schedule. One of my favorite YouTubers of all time is Johnny Paula. He did a show called Is It a Good Idea to Microwave This? He was a really popular YouTuber. A long time ago, I watched a live stream that he did, and someone asked him a question very much like the question you're probably asking me. What's it like to make, like, how do you make a good YouTube video? And the one piece of advice he gave was keep producing. And that's one little tidbit of advice that's always stayed with me throughout all these times I'm making videos on the manga reviews. Keep producing. Even if it's just the one video a week, which is the one manga review a week that you do, that's still a decent schedule that people can rely on. That's like, okay, I can always count on Tekking101 making a Bleach review when the chapter comes out. It might not always be the same day. People have schedules. People have shit to do. And, you know, schedules get fucked up sometimes. Not saying that never happens to me. I've made plenty of reviews that are late. I've made plenty of reviews that I've had to cancel. Well, actually, no, not plenty. Probably like 3 or 4 that I've had to completely cancel outright that I've never done the chapter review for, but it doesn't have to be the exact same day every single week. Do it as it pertains to your schedule, but try not to miss more than you can really afford to, because if you miss too many, then it's not really going to click, you know? So don't feel like, oh, I just read the chapter, I need to hurry up and make a review. That's what I do, because usually I have work or something. But, yeah, if you don't have time for it, do it another day. Just as long as you get it out around the same time frame when the chapter comes out, it's fine. If you're sick or something, don't do it, because once again, going back to the presentable things, you don't want to be sitting there blowing your nose when you're making a chapter review. So and maybe you can make a short little vid just saying, hey, chapter review is going to be a little bit late, and then delete that when it's gone. You know, that's what I do. That's just me. But schedule is important. Production is definitely important. Okay, number 4. Now we're getting on to editing. Now, I'm going to keep this rather brief because it's just one little thing that I just wanted to say in terms of editing your videos. Now, as you know, with me, I'll make videos that have the intro, I'll make videos that have the, I'll take clips from the chapter, I'll put them in there, I'll put music in there, I'll put an ending screen in there, I'll put little skits in. Alright, you don't have to measure up to that standard. Some basics that you want to have to do, though. And this basic really should apply to everybody, because in terms of editing software, you know what I use? I use Windows Movie Maker. I probably use the most basic editing software that can be found. And why is it the most basic? Because every computer at least has some version of it. If you have a Windows computer, I don't do Macs, I don't have a Mac, but with Windows computers, everyone at least has some version of Movie Maker in it. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Windows Movie Maker Live. I've never enjoyed it. I've used it sometimes just for rendering purposes only. I've never really edited with it because I just don't like the way it's set out. The version I use is Windows Movie Maker version 2.6. That is available as a free download on practically any website. Do a Google search. You could probably get it down from just the Windows website. Go to the Windows website, Movie Maker version 2.6. I think you can just download it for free right from there. And the only reason I bring this up is because when someone makes a video, usually the beginning is usually the hardest part for me that I've always found, because you have to kind of get into that groove. Once you get into the groove, it kind of all like flows from there. I'm sure any, you know, manga reviewer on YouTube can kind of vouch for me right there. It's like getting up to the camera and being like, hey, I can't tell you how many times in my damn life I've sat here in the same spot being like, hey everybody, Tekking101 here, here to review Bleach. Shit. Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. I must do that a good 6 or 7 times while the camera is recording before I do a Bleach review. All I have to do in Movie Maker is just find the part where I found it, like find the part where I started to get a roll on it, started to get it good, cut, delete, dead, gone. So I just start from there. Like I said, it's really basic. So the beginning, and that's usually the part I found the most. So like I said, just make sure to cut that off. If you have that problem. Another thing too is like setting up your camera, for instance. Like I use a tripod. Not everyone might have a tripod. As long as it's on a level surface that you can get any kind of decent view of myself, that's good. But if in terms of, I guess you wouldn't really have to worry about this if you're using a webcam, because with the webcam you can just click on. But if you're using any kind of portable camera like I'm using, don't do this. Don't be like, okay. Hey hey everybody, Tekking101, that's a little distracting. I'm not saying that's going to affect your entire video, just let me sure that that is still pointed out. Okay, we're good. I'm not going to say that's going to make everyone stop watching your video. There's a little thing called the 10-second rule, which if you are not really invested in a video within 10 seconds, you're just going to click off of it, because it's freaking YouTube. You know, I have an infinite amount of time to watch all these videos. I don't need to worry about this one guy that couldn't get it right the first time. So people are going to click off of you. They don't really care. Just random people that come to your channel. So you really have to capture them down to 10 seconds. Like I said, the whole adjusting thing, that's not going to be an issue really, but it's kind of unprofessional. It's not something you should really have on there. Just one-click trip to Windows Movie Maker. Click that off. You're going to have to wait for it to render. Maybe that's another thing too. The rendering time can vary. You know, like in terms of myself, you know, with all the editing I do, my videos are like 20 minutes long. Rendering for me usually takes an hour, just in terms of that. So, right. Even Windows Live. Like I said, I don't like Windows Live, but Windows Live at least offers the feature of that. You can just find it, snip, bun. I'm not saying you have to add on music, you have to add in the chapter snippets, anything like that. Like my editing takes a good 2 hours at least, just in terms of adding everything in and the music and everything. I mean, I've gotten pretty good at it at this point, but it still takes a hell of a long time, so you don't have to go up to that standard, but just make it look presentable. If halfway through the video you forgot what to do, or if you forgot the scene, it's always good to have like the chapter open like next to you, like I do. Like I have my laptop right here, just click it open, like I can just click through it. It's always good to have your Droid or your iPhone with you, just so you can like quick reference for the chapter. But let's say, for example, you're reviewing Naruto and you forget what happens on page 10. You forget what happens after this certain scene. You're like, oh shit, what happens? Crap. Okay, hold on, I have to look this up. This isn't my Droid. My Droid broke. I have to get a new one of those, actually. But don't be like, okay, hold on a second, guys. Okay. Oh, okay. So, Minato, he activates his, like, Nine-Tails chakra, and then he jumps in. Like, and then just remember, when that happens, just cut that little scene out. Cut that little scene out of you blundering with your words and searching through your phone, and be like, oh, okay, that's what happens. I remember now. I have a refresher. Okay. So on page 10, Minato activates his Nine-Tails chakra cloak, and he goes into combat with the Ten-Tails. That's all you have to do. That's really it's just a quick little snippet, scene done, easy. Editing, very simple. Like I said, I don't do Max. I don't know what the kind of editing software comes with Max, if they get any at all. My friend Dustin could tell you that. He's the Mac nerd that I know. But anyway, aside from that, Windows Movie Maker, very basic. Perfect for snipping and just adding very simple stuff in. That's all you really need. Last tidbit I have, the fifth factor here, is something that is optional. You don't have to include this, so more it's just the first four. If you get the first four down, you'll be good. You'll be solid. I think you can make a decent manga review and people will watch you if you get the first four factors down. The fifth one is optional. It's adding something new. Adding something that's personal and just for you. And obviously this is something that I wouldn't be able to just flat out tell you what to do. It's just kind of making your reviews in your own style. You know, like me with the suit and tie and the backdrop, this is kind of stuff that just happened. I noticed, really how it happened was I noticed searching, this was before YouTube had custom thumbnails available for anyone, but before that I was looking through these videos and a lot of them were just still shots of the aforementioned people in their bedrooms with terrible lighting making manga reviews, and it's that nothing really jumped out at me. So I figured, okay, wait, maybe if I make a video where there's like some kind of definable background behind me, when they're looking through the thumbs they'll see me. Now obviously this isn't an issue anymore because you have custom thumbnails. Which, by the way, another thing just in terms of custom thumbnails, since anybody can basically get these as long as your account's not like any kind of huge copyright strikes, if you can just sign up, you can get custom thumbs. And there's no excuse why you shouldn't add custom thumbs. Even if it's something as basic as just text reading Bleach Chapter 540 review in big red letters. Something that will at least tell the viewer what this is. You know, something basic like that. You can like throw, like Microsoft Paint right there. Yeah, that's like Windows Paint. That's easy editing software that also every computer comes equipped with. You know, go in there for 5 seconds, throw an image of Ichigo in there, Bleach Chapter whatever, M, like the M that I do, whatever, throw that on custom thumbnails, you're good to go. But that's how I came up with the backdrop anyway. Suit and tie, that's another thing I just kind of came up with. You know, my graduation of high school was like the same week, so I just had this lying around, threw it on, and then that became a staple. A fun factoid, I wasn't even going to wear this after my first review. I just wore this just because I thought it would look cool, and then afterwards people were like, oh man, dude, I like the suit and tie, go ahead. So that could be something you can do. Wear something definable that no one else does. Don't swagger jack. I don't think I have to even explain that whole thing. Like that should be a thing that should be obvious. You know, don't wear the suit and tie just because I do. Don't wear the kimono like as Ace does. Don't do anything like that where it's blatantly ripping someone off. Just if you want to wear something that's like your own definable trait, go ahead and do it. If you want to have some kind of cool Bleach artifact in the background, if you like want to have like a sword or any kind of anime related thing, like the DVD collection, like I said, you can just throw that up there. Just something that will make your videos different than anyone else. In terms of actual chapter reviewing itself, like you can add other stuff to it. It doesn't just have to be you describing the chapter, your opinion on the chapter, and then what you're going to think of the next chapter. That's really doesn't what all it could be. Like I add a comedy element to it. I think Ace adds a more like he's more of an informative side of that coin. Like I do more comedy, he does more just informative stuff. Like he will go back and track this stuff. He knows like what's going on in the story, and he does that a lot better than me sometimes, to the point where he can actually remember the chapter as he reviews it, which I still can understand how he does that. But you know, I need my laptop here for that stuff. But like what I'm saying, like there's some kind of element to it. Even if it's just the kind of comedy you're doing. Like don't be thinking just because Tekking101's known as the Bleach comedy reviewer that I can't do any comedy. Feel free, go ahead. I mean, just come up with, if you want to come up with your own style, that's cool, that's fine. Just figure out something that'll make you your own person, you know, and people will keep coming back to your videos to watching them. And that's really what a chapter review is. Actually, last thing, I didn't really want to mention this because I thought this would have been obvious at this point, because that's what kind of a review is. Don't just repeat the chapter. That should be something that obvious that people should know at this point. That's what a review actually is. Don't just sit there and state what happened in the chapter. Now, what I do, there's different ways people do this. Like the way I do it, I go through each scene individually, and then I'll stop at a scene that I have something to say about it. Then I'll say something. Then I'll continue. Other people like Ace, they'll do the whole chapter review really quick. They'll do the whole recap of what happens, and they'll give their thoughts and all that hullabaloo at the end. Either way you can do that, that's fine, but don't just be up there and repeat what we just heard without adding any of your information. If you're going to do it my way, read at least 2 or 3 pages. If anything interesting happens or anything that really catches your eye, you have to mention that. Don't talk for too long about it, just keep going. If you want to do it with the Ace style, you know, just recap the whole chapter really quickly. It should be under like 2 minutes recap, because you have to assume that the people that are coming to watch your videos have already read the chapter, or if they haven't, you know, tell them to. Say like, hey, I'm going to do a quick recap here. If you want to read the chapter, go to this, you know, go to this website or whatever. So, you know, if you're going to do it like that, give a quick 2-minute recap of what happens. Rest of the video should be your opinion, your thoughts, what's going to happen next, what character development occurred, what cliffhanger ending, whatever cliffhanger ending it was, like who do you think's gonna happen, who do you think's gonna show up, or what's gonna show up, or you know, anything like that. So yeah, that's just basic, like what a review actually means. Any video that I do anything to the contrary, I'll label discussion or debate or analysis. I won't put review up if that's not what I'm doing. Just basic stuff. So those are 5, really 6, just crucial points on how to do a good manga review. That's how I adhere to my videos. I hope that helped anybody out there. Remember to support each other too. That's a real big one. You know, the really sad thing about a lot of manga reviewers now anyway is that the people that are getting up in the higher echelon, like Sayer for Neverworld, King of Lightning, those kind of people, they're sort of in a sense, like I'm included in this too. I'll include myself and Ace and Bonkai and all those people. We sort of in a sense monopolize manga reviews. What does that mean? Well, I mean that's like when someone wants to go watch a Bleach review and they get caught, they're going to watch one of the ones that are more defined, or the one that has like, oh, this guy has, you know, a decent number of subscribers, I'm going to watch him and not watch any of these people. So I haven't done this, I'll admit. I haven't really done a lot to support other members of the manga reviewing community. I'm trying to do a little bit better with this, and I gave that shout out to Jim's Nerd Nation a little while ago because I really liked him, but I'm going to try to start getting into that. I'm going to try watching other manga reviewers and thinking what, you know, like who's really good and who deserves to be, you know, a little bit more popular, because the monopolization thing, that's not right, that's not good. So yeah, not to say I don't let it go to my head. I'm not sitting up here being like, I got 7,000 subscribers and I'm the best son of a bitch who ever lived, you know, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, like, it's good to expand, network, get to know your fellow manga reviewers, go in some live streams, you know, stuff like that, just to get to know your public there, and then know who you're talking about, know the community. That's a good one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this guys, you find any kind of information that you liked here, any kind of stuff that's informative or would help you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found it informative. Maybe you'll change some of your videos around from now on. Maybe you have some new ideas. That's just awesome. So, you know, remember, like my fan page below. Got my Twitter. You can follow that. Got my Ustream. Follow that. Doing some live shows about once every week or so. I do a live show. So yeah, hope you guys like the video. Tekking101 signing out. Good catchphrase. You need a catchphrase. Doesn't have to. It can be something completely stupid. You just have to stick with it. Just stick with it and you got it. I'm stuck with signing out. Not the best one, not the most original one, but hey, it works, right? Okay. See you guys.